Alrighty, everybody. Hello and welcome back to the show. So today, we're actually going to be doing a little bit of a replay review, more so than a cast. I will be casting various portions of it. This is a game I played probably about 30 minutes ago. It was a really interesting game, and I think that there were a couple of good things that newer players can learn from this game, which is honestly the whole reason I started this channel, or it's part of the reason. The main reason that I started this channel was to help newer players get better at the game. The other reason I started this channel was because I was hungry for Supreme Commander casts, and Guile was like the only one that I knew about at the time. Willow, I'm just now realizing, was casting at about the same time. I think he and I started our channels at about the same time. I think he had a month head start on me or something like that. But one of the primary goals in starting this channel was to help newer players get better. And if you've joined in the last couple months or so and you're not used to kind of my regularly scheduled programming, I try to do one of these every week, every 2 weeks or so, same as my ladder matches that I upload, to help newer players get better at the game, help them potentially understand my thought process. I'm not a professional at this game by any stretch of the imagination, but I'd like to think that I've cut my teeth a little bit in Forge Alliance Forever and have gotten some good experience that hopefully some people can benefit from. So that's why I put this together. So let's go in and introduce our players. Game is going down on good lands, not bad lands. So really the only difference, I don't think this map has as many mexes, although I'm not 100% sure. But the primary difference is that you're in a round crater instead of a more squared off crater. And the plateaus are smaller, so that's the primary difference. But a lot of the rest of it stays the same. We've got 3 lanes. You got your middle channel, your side lanes, and your 2 plateaus on both sides. So a little bit of a change of flavor. We'll go ahead and introduce our players real quick before the action kicks off. I'm playing in the northwest corner of team number 1. Yep. To my north is Yellow Colorado. He's playing as Aeon. I'm playing as UEF. And to the east, we have Zabahi, I'm guessing, going Seraphim. And then last teammate for this side is going to be Iostrim. I picked the game with like the hardest names to pronounce. Going up against Iostrim and already exchanging blows is Melon Pippin Collie. Just kind of a play on words there with Melancholy. He's going UEF. Next, we've got Bullock, who's going Cybran. I think he's the only Cybran in the game, actually. Then we have the Black Rabbit, who's going UEF. And last but not least, we have Masta P187, which I'm guessing is some sort of Star Wars meme. But so instead of casting this like a regular game, as Iostrom is getting his shit kicked in by both Labs and the commander there for Melon Pippin Collie, I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the movements of commanders within this game. So I'm playing pretty aggressively with my commander. We're moving in, taking out a mass extractor, we're taking out a radar, and I got a couple T1 units that are supporting me, but by and large it's just commander pushing pretty early. At 3 minutes I've already crossed the map. I'm already up in this guy's business. It says 10 by 10, but really this is like a kind of a 5 by 5 equivalent between me and Mazda P187. So the primary purpose here with the commander push was to get in, catch him off balance as much as I could. I ran some T1 units around the side, did some damage to his eco. Let me turn the mini-map back on as well. But that was my primary goal here. I wanted to damage his eco, which I am able to grab 2 mass extractors in the back, 3 on the front, take out a lot of his build power. That was kind of the primary goal of this push. But I was also, and the reason why I wanted to do this so quickly after I've actually played the game is I wanted to remember kind of what I was thinking as I was playing. And I was thinking that he has a vanilla commander. There's no way that anybody else has anything that could possibly threaten me at this point, unless they walked their commander over, which we had scouted a couple of different times, and they weren't doing that. We had scouted that they were on upgrades. So I'm feeling relatively okay, relatively safe here to just pull out, take the eco damage that I had gotten, and then move back. And so it is important to be aggressive with your commander, because your commander at the beginning of the game is the most powerful unit that you have on the field. It's worth 20 T1 tanks, roughly, depending on which faction you are, but roughly 20 T1 tanks. So pushing with your commander early on is important, and making sure that you can actually deal some damage with your commander. Now, you don't want to overextend, because then you can find yourself encircled by T1 units. So as soon as I saw Black Rabbit moving over with T1 units, that's when I backed up and decided to go for a gun upgrade at this point. And as we move, I'm going to move the speed down a little bit. So I'm going for a gun upgrade right now. Reason why I'm going for a gun upgrade and then nano repair is because I don't really have that many factories. I only have 2 T1 factories, or 3 T1 factories. This one was primarily producing engineers beforehand. But one thing to keep in mind is that I've actually paused all of my factories, which is something that I've just recently started doing whenever you're going for a gun upgrade. I do have, at least I thought I had radar. I don't have radar. Never mind. I was flying blind. I thought I had radar up at the front of the map, but I knew that there wasn't any pushing that was coming in from my side, so I felt relatively safe to go for double upgrade there with both gun and nano. Now this allows me to do a couple of different things. It allows my commander to take a lot more hits than it would normally. I'm actually repairing my commander. I'm an idiot. And it allows me to dish out some pretty good damage with Zephamp. I've also got an energy storage that's built back at my base. This is critical. I did like an entire video on how powerful your vanilla commander can be as long as it has overcharge, and this energy storage allows you to do that. So having a gun upgraded commander with overcharge is that much more important. Now in the meantime, Master P187 has gotten a gun upgrade of his own. He doesn't have nano though, and the reason why is Aeon can't actually get nano upgrades. So I feel relatively comfortable pushing and taking a couple of hits from this because I know that I've got nano. I know that I'm going to be able to regen this a lot faster, and that for every T1 unit my commander kills here at the front line is one less T1 unit that my T1 army has to deal with eventually. Now I think I probably brought my T1 army in a little bit too soon here, because it does subject them to his gun upgrade. But even still, like, if you look at this, we're both in the yellow, but I'm at almost 11k HP and he's at under 7,000 HP. So it gets deceptive whenever you're just looking at health bars. The amount of damage that my commander is doing here is far superior to the amount of damage that he is doing to me, even though we both have gun, because I went for that nano upgrade. And the only reason I was able to get that nano upgrade with the kind of breathing space that I had was because I neutered his economy early on with that early commander push. Now in other places in the map, things are going fine. Like nothing is really that terrible. We have Zabahi who's taking some hits, but you know, there's nothing here that they're not going to be able to deal with. So I'm really just focused on trying to shut down my lane as much as possible and divert attention to me. And so you'll notice that I'm not walking into his base. Even though I have 7k HP, he's down under 5k HP. I could run him down if I wanted to and potentially kill him, but I don't want to do that. The reason why is there's a T1 army over here that is actually just now shifting over, as well as Bullock's commander is moving over here as well. So whenever you're one commander that is pushing and there are other commanders that are easily able to get in range to help whoever you are pushing against, you don't want to overextend your commander. You want to just kind of stay on the outside, be real annoying, and as you can see in a second, you might even say that I overcommitted here. Bullock does have a vanilla commander, but I'm taking some artillery fire. I actually thought it would be a good idea to go for some reclaim there. It was not a good idea because it sent me in range of Master P187, and I tank a ton of artillery shells there from some fervors. This is when I noticed the other comm that was walking in. Right? I believe that was whenever I noticed. Nope, I'm still committing. I haven't noticed. Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't notice until this guy was like squarely up in my ass. And then I panicked. So he's bringing his T1 units over. And this is a really bad position for me because there's two commanders, one of which has a gun upgrade. and can outrange me. So I panic sent in all of my T2 units, because I did make the jump to Tech 2 land and trying to get some pillars out. But this is whenever I'm in full retreat here. I've got Bullock, I've got Black Rabbit's T1 units, I've got Masta's T1 units coming in. This is kind of full retreat here, but this is really good. I have 3 T1 armies that are chasing my commander. My commander with nano and gun with some overcharges. The only problem is I have like nothing back behind me. It is literally just the commander that is holding this off. But again, going for the nano, it allows me to take some pretty serious hits here. I'm just now dipping under 7,000 HP. Or just now dipping under 7,000 HP. His gun commander is just absolutely taking it to me. Throwing out some shots, throwing out some overcharges. Now dipped into the red at about 3,500 HP. This is what I should have started doing a long time ago, was getting some point defense up, because I had the mass for it, and I just honestly was forgetting because I was trying to micro my commander. I did get a triad up, which was helpful. Then I actually scrapped the second triad and tried to go for some plasma turrets. But at this point, it's a little bit too late. My base is in some semi-serious trouble here. I've got a gun comm bearing down on me. My commander is not looking very healthy. I have about 50% of the HP that he does. So this is when I started thinking, okay, we're going to lose this game. But the T1 units are gone from Masta. So now it's just his gun commander up here. And now he is in a position of having potentially overextended, right? Because Yellow Colorado is doing the exact same thing that Black Rabbit did earlier, which is, it's really great to have teammates that pay attention. Yellow Colorado was kind of the MVP of this game, honestly, in the way that he played. The main thing that I wanted to highlight in this video was just commander upgrades and commander placement. So Masta is still going in pretty hard on this gun upgrade. Incidentally, our white player, Iostrom, has been completely decimated, and that has led our Seraphim player to get raided. I'm going to get raided by this army in the back. This was a dark time in the Duelist game. But again, with Nano and with Veterancy, I'm already back up to 13,000 HP. He's down at 9,000, under 10,000. So with Nano and Veterancy, playing a little bit smart with your comm, utilizing the nano upgrade, the health, and just staying calm and realizing that I have nano, I can take a couple of extra hits. As long as I'm not stupid about it, I will be able to outlast this commander on the front line. And now we've got this gigantic reclaim field that's been deposited in front of my base to the tune of 5,000, a little bit more reclaim, which at this point in the game, 14 minutes in, that's not a too shabby of a reclaim field. That's pretty good. That's 5 T2 mexes, and as you can see right now, I am down several mexes, so need to start getting that reclaim as quickly as I can. But commander back up into the green, almost at 15,000 HP, and we'll bump the speed back up again. This is like very much an average Joe's game, in case y'all didn't notice by the ratings. If I'm the highest rated player in the game, it is definitely an average Joe's game. But I still think that there are some things that could be learned from this game. So let's talk about the other side of the map instead of focusing on me, even though I'm the most important person in this game, naturally. Just kidding. Let's talk about the other side of the map. So, Melon, Pippin, Kali basically rolled over our white guy and then just kind of stopped. So he has his commander is a vanilla commander. You'd want to go for a gun upgrade or T2 or something. You should get an upgrade on your commander at some point during the game. I don't always, because I'm an idiot. But he has kind of let our white player, Iostrom, just walk kind of back into his base. And so he's going to start grabbing these mexes. He's got some factories, he's got some reclaim, and he's not going to be in a bad spot. Meanwhile, T2 point defense is also covering him, so things are looking pretty good here for the white player. So if you're in Melon Pippin Collie's shoes, simply wiping a base off the map is not sufficient in order to win the game, because you wipe the base off the map and then you just kind of sit back here, and that's not going to win you the game. Ultimately, you need to keep this pressure up. You need to make sure that you are continuing to deny these mexes, because it's not all about mexes are the most limiting resource in the game, and it's not all about grabbing mexes for yourself. It's also about denying them from your opponent, and that has like a double-edged sword. If you think about it this way, if you take a mex, that doesn't just mean that you have taken a mex. It also means that you have a mex that your opponent doesn't. So it's not just an extra 1 mass per tick for you, is what I think it is. What is it? 1 mass? 2 mass. Sorry. It's not just an extra 2 mass per tick for you. Overall delta in the game is 4 mass, because you are denying 2 mass from your opponent and you're adding 2 mass to your coffers as well. So that is an overall delta within the game of 4 mass. And so instead of denying the 8, potentially, I mean, if he upgrades to Tech 3 here, the 8 all the way up to potentially 100 mass denied, Melon Pippin Collie just kind of hung out and sat back a little bit and did not move into the space. This would have been a great time to go T2 on your comm, grab a little fire base. You know, the world's your oyster at that point. But going back to this side, so my comm repped up, almost 19,000 HP. This was when Yellow Colorado kind of started winning the game. So he did go T2, he went for Mercies. There was no flak. And as far as I'm concerned, are Mercies like the best way to win a game? No, not necessarily, but they're so easily countered. Like 1 flak, even T1 AA just deals with Mercies really, really easily. So, you know, it's not necessarily the honorable way to win the game, but since they're so easily countered, I think that they should stay in the game. And that goes for gunship snipes, fighter bomber snipes, etc. You know, all of them are very easily countered by flak. So you go T2, get some flak, even just some static flak, like out here, is a very cheap solution to the problem. So next thing I wanted to talk about is commander upgrades and how they impact how you use your commander. So it would be a huge mistake for me right now to say, great, we beat my opponent, I'm going to walk my commander back to my base and just sit there, because I have gun, nano, 5 veterancy points, and 20,000 HP. This commander is a juggernaut of a unit right now, and walking back to my base is not going to help anybody at all, which is, you know, I'm starting to walk back to my base right now. But again, I think I was doing it because I didn't know how many units were over here. And I realized they were just mongoose and like 1 pillar. So I figured I could go ahead and take it out. I also did see this big force on radar. Didn't really know what it was, so I wanted to get a couple T2 units around me. And at some point I turned my commander around, right? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I just, I just walked my commander back. So apparently I don't listen to any of what I say, which is, you know, typical me. But anyway, what you should be doing, okay, there we go. I turned it around. What you should be doing is, if you have gun and nano on your commander, or if you're a Seraphim, you've got regen aura or gun nano, Cybrin, you've got gun stealth, any of those big upgrades, you should be using your commander as an offensive unit. So here we've got the Black Rabbit coming in. He's got T2 upgrade as well as gun. I did realize that he didn't have nano, and you can look at his health in order to see that. He's got T2 upgrade, he's got a rank of veterancy, but ultimately, I don't think he has overcharge. That's a pretty big problem. Oh, he does have overcharge. Okay. So he does have overcharge, but overextends his commander a little bit. And again, because my commander is such a chunky juggernaut, I can tank all these shots from hoplites. I can walk this guy down. He's got 3,000 HP. At some point, I was signaling for mercies from Yellow Colorado. I was like, yo, you got any mercies left? I did have 2 of them left. Did bring it in. I think I would have been able to... That commander was dead regardless of if the Mercies had showed up or not. Because we did have blazes, and there is a desync in this game. It doesn't really change the outcome of the game or what I wanted to talk about. I'm very sad that there is a desync in this. We'll speed this up though. Essentially what happens is T2 units from me as well as Yellow Colorado just kind of march through the bottom side of the base. And this is what you should be doing if you take out an opponent on the enemy team. You need to keep pressure up on the vulnerability. You take out an opponent, that is airtime that you've got, baby. And Yellow Colorado went for the drop, which is really, really good. And then I went for kind of just streaming T2 units into the breach and tried to get around as much as I could. But ultimately, if there's a weak spot in the enemy's defenses, you've got to exploit it. And that's what I think that team number 2 didn't do in this game. Because if you look at our white player is basically like just back up to normal at this point. So extremely important to make sure that you exploit weaknesses in the game. Incidentally, desyncs, I am 99.9% sure they are caused by people Alt F4ing whenever you quit a game. So if you want to avoid desyncs, and the primary reason you would want to avoid desyncs are if you want your game to be casted. So if you want to avoid desyncs, quit the normal way. Click the menu, hit exit to Windows. That'll allow the game to close out. And it means that we don't have issues like this where I'm pretty sure I killed all of these units or all these factories, but yet they don't show up. Yeah, like this was all dead whenever we played. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, as we're getting back to our regularly scheduled programming, I wanted to do some more replay reviews. This was one of mine. If y'all have one that you want reviewed or taken a look at, send it to me on Discord. My Discord handle is down in the description down below. So send me the replay ID. Double check it if you don't mind before you send it to me, just so that I can be sure that it doesn't desync. That's also a way that you can get games to cast to me as well, or you can drop them in the Forge Alliance Forever cast, kind of vault, cache, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I will leave y'all to it. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.